Els, good morning.
I thought I clicked the button.
There you
I
are.
didn't. Well, good morning. It is July 12th. CPI number came out. Inflation looks like it's curbing, moving in the right direction. Aren't you excited, Bender?
I'm super excited.
You should be,
I'm super.
because this means that Pringles might be back in fashion. It might be able to get some Pringles on the cheap. Maybe, maybe.
Pringles? Like, I don't eat Pringles. Who gives a shit about Pringles?
Well, then that's just about as communist gets. If you're not about the Pringle.
I'm not into the Pringle. You know what I noticed recently, though, is a lot of the used market, like used cars and recreational type stuff, campers and four wheelers and motorcycles. A lot of that stuff has come down quite a bit. You know what I noticed last night? Fucking boats have not, like ski boats, wakeboard boats. That stuff is so jacked up and ridiculous. It's not even funny. I'll get a quick example. I had a 2006 Centurion Avalanche C4 wakeboard slash surf boat. Nice boat, right? Brand new. It was like 59,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I sold it in 2000. It was like 2013 or 12 or something like that. And I sold it for 28 or 29,000. You can't find that boat right now for probably less than 40, maybe 35. And if you go look at like the Supras and any of the Mastercraft, any of the higher end boats, it's like 2010, 65,000, 2012, 60,000, 65,000, 70,000. It's like, what the hell? What the hell? $100,000 for, 10-year-old wakeboard, but just, I don't know. It just threw me. I was like, that market has not gotten hit.
I'm not somebody who knows really anything about boats. Well, in a lot of ways, boats make me sick. I get seasick easily, unless I'm drunk before
That's
I get on a boat.
unfortunate.
If I'm drunk
That's
before I get on a
unfortunate.
boat, I'm fine. There's like no problems. I'm good. I just got to keep the drunk going. Um, but yeah, so I'm not a real big boatish kind of guy. That does seem kind of expensive.
Yeah, I just like comparatively to, the other sort of, used markets, it just, they've all come down. Boats certainly have not. It seems like, if you just kind of go, okay, well, everything else came down. These really haven't. If you own a boat and you were looking to sell it, you might want to do it because, it that used market has not taken a hit.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
And if you're looking to buy a boat, you might wait. I mean, I have no idea, but if I was looking to buy a boat, I would wait until that market comes down, cools off a little bit.
Can we say the same about stonks or no?
Uh, you can say whatever you want.
I'm just wondering if there's a through line. If that's really the lead indicator is used boat prices. That once that starts taking a
I
hit,
don't
the
know.
market cools.
We'll have to track that. We'll have to track that.
I think it's something that we should, because that's the only thing we have left other than Pringles to go ahead and really, really get an understanding of what's really going on. Look, we can say though that the inflation story, at least for now, is that it is moving in the right direction. That we can say, and it's moving in the right direction without unemployment spiking. Um, there is that. It is moving in the right direction without massive foreclosures in the home market. We can say that. We can say a lot of positive things around where we are right now in relation to the overall inflation picture. The one thing that is consistent, though, is the Fed continuing to say that we're not even close to where we need to be from a target, even though the math is starting to look a little bit more and more like we are. Um, that their tone is going to kind of dictate a lot, and really, so we have a meeting here in a week or so, that they're going to go ahead and do something. Maybe they pause again, maybe they raise, maybe not. Bank of Canada, I think, is supposed to raise today. I think Bank of Canada. And so we'll see, how that kind of plays out with the other central banks. It really looks like they want to continue to raise and really get this thing whacked. I think their biggest fear right now is letting off the gas and seeing it kind of resurface and go. Right now, we kind of punctured, at least from a market standpoint, we punctured some upside resistance, and we are flagging on that resistance, looking to kind of push higher as we come into market open. So bull is still intact, bull is still in play. In a lot of ways, I pondered to myself last night. It's like, yeah, no, everybody's looking for it to go to the upside. We saw very bullish flow on dailies, like the Q371s for today. They were smashing those. There's $1 million line that came in the last hour, I believe, yesterday. And then we also had IWM. The call flow into IWM was very bullish all day. They were relentless in hitting the 191. So those were kind of tells that we would get the pop, that they were planning on popping it. Now, in the aftermath of the number, what kind of happens? As far as overall news, ATVI and Microsoft, that continues to be like Melrose Place. Will they, won't they? Back and forth as far as going through the courts. As of the last headline, it looks like they will allow that merger. But maybe there's another headline, because ATVI, last I looked at it, was red on the day. Interesting.
Anytime there's a deal that's of that size, it seems like it kind of goes like this.
Yeah.
Like back and forth. Will they, won't they? Is it going to happen? Is the court going to stop it? Are they going to let it go? Like, it just seems like it's always, of this magnitude, it's always kind of like that.
Which, in a lot of ways, you have to wonder if Microsoft is just kind of like, we really don't really even want the fucking deal at this point. it's like fine.
We've moved on.
It's like it's like maybe instead we can be like Nvidia and try to be an anchor investor in the ARM IPO, which was a headline that came out last night, that ARM is pushing to bring in Nvidia as an anchor investor in the IPO that is rumored to be sometime in September. Which that ARM IPO, when that does indeed happen, will be probably the largest IPO that market participants have seen in the last 10, 20 years. It will be a massive venture. So that's interesting. Nvidia's name being thrown about is also very interesting. 80 billion valuation is what they're thinking on that ARM IPO, and they're looking for Nvidia to come in with a pretty hefty stake. So I found that to be curious reading this morning. Outside of that, let's get into these charts, Bender, and figure it out. It's like, I'm going to go ahead and see if we can find some charts on used boat prices, see if we can pair this up while you're going through the charts.
Perfect. Yeah, let me throw my screen up here. All right. Loading. Okay. Now we see it. All right. So I'm starting with a daily here, going back to, was this April 2022? So you can see where some of this stuff comes from. But you got a volume imbalance right in here. You can see on the daily from 45.15 up to 45.20. And then you got this fair value gap here on this daily candle, which is, of size, 45.22 half all the way up to 45.62 half. So you can see that line there that says daily fair value gap. That's the top of that. So you'll see that on the chart. You'll see this box here on the chart being that volume imbalance. And then this was the top of a weekly fair value gap that we talked about yesterday. So now you know where those came from. The last thing I want to show you on the daily, we have this channel right in here. Make this a little bit bigger. So we had talked about this move and the pullback being between 50% and 60, and it actually pierced that 618. The body of the candle stayed above it, but the wick pierced the 618. I know you don't see the 618 on the chart, but we had been talking about it. But the bodies of these candles held above that 50% retracement. So I threw extensions on here just to kind of get an idea. So we've got that volume imbalance on the daily just above. And then you have the 1272 extension of that move and pullback, 45.3375, 1414 up at 45.52, and the 1618 would be 45.7875, and the top of that daily fair value gap sitting in between that 141 and 1618. That's up at 45.62. So that's kind of the bigger picture. If we are going to continue to the upside, kind of those areas to look for and watch. I'll take it down to a 60-minute here. Actually, we're going to go tighter than that. We'll go to a 15. So this was kind of what we had talked about yesterday, was if it got through this red shaded box and was able to break through the top of this 15-minute fair value gap, that would probably go test the top of this blue shaded box. That's kind of what we talked about pre-market, was that if it got through 44.64 half, that it was probably good for another 11 to 12 handles to come up and take this previous high, that 44.7625. So it did that. It made that move. Now that these have been filled, I can start taking these off the chart. You don't need them anymore. And that takes us to where we sit currently and kind of the price action, pre-market, early market, that sort of thing. So we've got the London session high, 44.8675. And I threw fibs on these two 5-minute candles here. What was that? About a 20, 30-point move right here. So the half back on a pullback here, 44.96 half, and then 618 would be 44.93. So if we pull back into here, this area in here, what is that? Three handles right in here is kind of where I would be looking to see, okay, what's next? Are we gonna retrace 50% of this and then, hold?
50% we could get what move of this, including
just this pre-market shit.
Okay, not the late day cycle.
No, this is just from 8:30, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, or just before that, 8:20, 8:25, right there. Just this move right here. So if we were to retrace, and as you can imagine, we're going to have a gap here, like.
Yeah, but the downside gaps
as
don't
you can
matter.
see,
those really
well.
It's like
sometimes.
Jesus, come on.
Sometimes
it's like we still have a pretty hefty gap down at like 423 on SPY, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, if we pull back into that gap, this is kind of the area that I would be watching, to see kind of what's next. If it's going to, bounce in that golden ratio zone and then continue to push to the upside, or if it's going to give up 44.93, fail to retake 44.96. If that looks like it's acting as resistance, that would be, for me, an indication that, okay, maybe we short down to the bottom of this 5-minute fair value gap, 44.85, and see what it does there.
We got some, I think Stonkington was talking about it, and a couple other folks, it's like some fairly bearish activity that basically calls that 44.85 tops and then sell yesterday. Am I remembering that correctly?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
saw
sure.
some puts out there, but
Like some of those multi-legs that were coming in that were calling that 44.85 tops.
yeah, but that was yesterday. They were maybe hedging. Who knows?
Right. All right. Very good. What else you got, Bender?
I think that's about it.
All right. Do we get sunny this morning, or we go straight to the stonk?
Let's see. Do we have sun? No, we don't have sun.
Stonkington, tell us a story.
All right, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm awake. Let's see what we got. Here, this was a discussion topic I found yesterday. School nurses in Colorado can give kids medicinal marijuana.
Ooh.
Wait. What?
Ooh.
Yeah. Bender can
Here's
pick his
here's a
nose.
gummy for your time. Ooh, boy.
Looking for
Well,
those
so they can I'm assuming that they can administer it if it was prescribed, and just like any other medication, right? Like if your kid has a prescription, you take it to the school, give it to the nurse, you sign some papers to say, yeah, you can give this to my kid.
Yeah, even with aspirin, I remember it being like a thing.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Man, I can't wait
But how many-
when they
yeah.
do that with the LSD and some mushrooms. It's like, you want to talk about, whew,
Make it school fun again?
seriously.
Yeah. What? You didn't give little Billy his sativa before math class? Come on. How's he supposed to concentrate?
Well, I would venture to say that it's probably healthier that they do that than taking the Ritalin and the whatever other crap that's being pumped down their throats to deal with just being squirrely little bastards.
You don't know what you're talking about, Hells.
I really don't, but it's like it seems like those types of things are overprescribed.
Yeah, probably. But I just wonder how long it's going to be before schools kind of turn into like almost like the prison system. Like they try to figure out like, oh, well, if I just hide it under my tongue and pretend to swallow it, then, I can take it to class and I know Billy's going to pay me $40 for that.
There you go. All right. Well,
We know they like sticking Tide Pods up their butts and they drink alcohol up their butts. So it's like, I think you're onto something there, Bender.
Oh my gosh, the butt chug. All right, let's get into some charts. I'm trying to share.
Oh, yeah. I got to push that button. Okay, there you go.
All right, there we go. All right, so I had the Russell up. We can start there. Kind of very busy chart when I zoom it out, but we can basically see that we've ran this 4-hour fair value gap, and we've got 15 minutes to go on the candle. So would be watching for a close above or below this 1954.80 basically. And then basically if we closed above that, it's same as it works on the 10-minute chart. If we close above, then we would look for this range to work as support. Then next above, we'd be looking for who's the next bear stop we've got to run. So we've got something up here, 1970.40. And then this was, I had marked up as a daily order block line, basically the midpoint of this last up close candle that was followed by a aggressive push down. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for in the Russell. If we drill down and kind of zoom in over here a bit, let's see, we've got some of these yellow boxes are going to be daily fair value gaps. This is just that resistance line. This black line was this resistance line that I was looking at as we went into yesterday that we ran through. But these daily fair value gaps are kind of what was left behind. Got a smaller gap here. But again, just going to kind of be the main focus for me will be if we close above or below that line in the next hour or so, then we can look for this area to work as support, kind of see how far we pull back. But again, we've been talking about so far this week, we've clearly seen that small caps flow is extremely bullish. So and as well as Hell's mentioning, we saw some nice lines on the IWM. So let's jump over to the NASDAQ and see what we got here. All right, so this is the trend line I was talking about yesterday. That once we used it as support, and then we had one more time where when it swapped to resistance. We had one shot yesterday where it worked as resistance, and then we grabbed it and we ran off to the upside. Let's see. So above, we've got this older fair value gap. If we keep pushing, first upside target could be this 475.50 that has room all the way up into 583.75. These are some of our order block lines here. You can kind of just see how many times these have reacted, and kind of similar. So here's an up close candle followed by an aggressive push down. So we'd use the midpoint, and this is an hour. Looks like I had that one marked as a 4 hour. So we'd have to give it some time there. I guess also about an hour to go to see if we closed above on the NASDAQ, above that 393. And then kind of similar to what Bender was showing, obviously now this whole pop becomes a fair value gap. So this to this, and then that'll be something that we could be looking for if we were to pull back on the NASDAQ. So kind of a couple lines to keep an eye on. Upside, we would be looking for this 475.50, and then below looking for this. Next, we'd look for this one to hold. So just kind of be calling those levels out as we go through the day here, but very bullish move, bullish flow. All right, let's jump into the individual tickers. I was kind of taking a look here at NVIDIA. Breaking out. So my original call trigger was going to be this one, which now we just see is resistance going to become support. So if we pull back, I'll be looking for 427.60 on NVIDIA to hold. And then to the upside, let's see, we've got this 432.05. Just can see how many times it reacted to that level. So we'd need to pop and hold 432.05 for continued upside there on NVIDIA. Downside, I'd be looking at what was originally the call trigger, 427.60. Daily inside bar, let's see, we have not yet broke that high from the other day. So something to just be aware of. Compressed through this area. We'll see what we get. I posted those bullish multi-legs on NVIDIA. Those went out to August 18th. So we'll see what we get. Tesla was the other daily inside bar, also breaking out. So we can see how we would adjust those lines. This descending megaphone type thing. So basically, we had this dark pool here that we've crossed now, 275.61. So I'd be watching for us to hold that if we lost it. That could potentially be your put trigger retest, and then we'd be watching above 278.85 is this fib here. We'd need to pop and hold that for continued upside there on Tesla. And I think that's all I got for today.
All right, very good. All right, so we get a Bank of Canada rate announcement in about 45 minutes. We get crude oil inventories also. And what else do we get? A lot of babbling throughout the day. A lot of Fed speak throughout the day. We get Beige Book later on this afternoon. Overnight, there really isn't a whole hell of a lot taking place, and we get jobs data tomorrow. Flow has been directionally bullish on anything and everything, like literally anything and everything that's out there. Watching flow today should be a fairly important tell as far as indeed what happens next when we have banks reporting at the end of the week. Is today the signal to where rock out until it falls off to the upside? Could be. Absolutely could be, based on some of this pre-market price action and the way it continues to absolutely shove to the upside. It's looking as if this was what the market was looking for to really, really get that that major move to the upside. On the flip side, we've seen this a couple of times, and there is a tendency to buy the rumor and sell the news. They've been buying this rumor of inflation pulling back for several weeks now. And we find ourselves breaking through that resistance that we were up against. So the question is, now what? Now what? Bender, now what?
I guess we'll see.
Wrong answer.
I mean,
Stonkington, now what?
More up.
Stonkington says more up. All right.
there you go.
See. We have anything
There
else?
you have it. No, nothing from me.
I'm good.
All right. So if there's flow in particular that I'm going to be looking for, they came in and played smack about on Adobe 515 calls for this week. Towards the end of the day, it's a very aggressive move to the upside, considering that it was just under 500 when they started nailing those. They also have a hefty amount of 505 calls on the books on Adobe. We'll also be watching the NVIDIA battle line. What is it, that 430-ish area, to see what flow is looking like and reacting about in and about there. The other name that is very, very important to take a look at, Apple has absolutely pulled back off of its highs. It has been lagging the general market move. And if you're pulling up Apple on the daily, it came down and it is tapped twice and recovered the what is this? The 20 SMA on the daily on two different occasions this week. It's come down, tapped it, and then held above. So Apple flow, and you can see if you're looking at Apple, this could be a gorgeous falling setup, falling wedge on Apple off of those all-time highs, that 194-ish level. This is a decent pullback, but Apple flow is going to be important, I believe, for the next leg up in the market, considering that it has lagged so substantially. So if you just think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of the last 7 days, Apple has closed red 4 times. No, did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 6. So 2 green days, 4 red days, pulling down off of those highs. It is no longer overbought on the daily. The only thing that I can say about it, it's not looking extraordinarily healthy if it closes below this 187.70, 187.50 level. That's going to be a negative close for Apple and not a good thing in general. So this little falling wedge on Apple is something to take a look at. Flow is going to be something to really, really be aware of when it comes to Apple. It has lagged the overall market move, and that's going to be very, very high up on my list because, after all, it is the most biggest, baddest, and powerful company on the planet, right? Did anybody say anything different about that? Valuation, how they continue to make money, all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, that flow after this type of a pullback is going to be important. Are they gunning to the downside, or are they going to buy the hell out of it today? So that's going to be where my eyes are.
I do have one other thing, I suppose, because we've been talking about crypto, right? It kind of been following, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the miners we've been talking about on the morning show here. So just a quick update, I suppose, on Bitcoin. If you look at this is a weekly chart, and if you look at this down move, 50% retracement, 31,953.37. And you can see we're kind of right up. We're currently sitting 30,000, just over 30,008. This area in here has been acting as resistance. You can see on the weekly. You've also got the 1618. So you had this up move, pull back to between 50%, 60 to that golden ratio zone, and then fire. And the 618 coming in, 618 extension, 31,336.76, right in there, which it has wicked through a few times. If Bitcoin can get over that 50% retracement, if you see it hit 32, you can see it get explosive to the upside. Going back to the daily real quick, I also measured the this most recent move, because this is when we were talking about it, is on this 50% pullback, and then, watching it start to push. So this most recent move, pull back to the 50% retracement, and then push up. Your extensions are up here, 1272 up at 34,190, 1414 is at 35,828, 1618, 38,180. So if it makes that move right up to 32,000, then you're looking at having a nice, you've got a nice and big enough, you got room to the upside up to that 34,190 would be the next place to kind of watch it if it gets through this. So keep an eye again. Riot, Mara, like we've been talking about these for a couple weeks, and I mean, look at this move Riot has had, just nutty.
Yeah, no, it's like when I was looking at the Bitcoins also, and it's like a little bit more aggressive. It's like if it holds 31,000, if it pops, it pulls, holds, it's gonna fire and make that move towards 34. It's like I'm almost positive. It's like the 32 is being conservative as far as that move. But if it pops this 31, comes back, taps 31 again, it is going to absolutely blitz to that 34 level is what it looks like. And there is flow supporting it on your Mars, Riots, Misters, that kind of stuff. Yep. There is supporting flow for that type of explosive move.
We were on this one pretty early. As far as this recent move in crypto. So we'll keep tracking it.
It doesn't hurt when BlackRock, Fidelity, and all the other fucking waffles decide to get to that it's going to be a thing all of a sudden after saying it's not going to be a thing. Now it's going to be
that's
a thing.
The game they play, right? Like,
because it wasn't a thing. Can't be a thing.
You look left. We're going to tell you to look left, and we're going to be doing something over here on the right, getting things ready.
Same fucking cunts that were screaming like it's destabilizing, the environment. It's like it'll destroy the world. Everybody did, and they're saying they're buying like a bunch of fucking heathens on the other side.
Of course,
amazing stuff. All right, so now we have 5 minutes until open. 5 minutes until open. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.